Hi, I'm Hans Pregler, Technical Director at Young Auditorium. Since we have no events until further notice, I have the opportunity to show you how all the magic happens behind the curtain. Welcome to Backstage Perspectives. Join me as we explore what it takes to put the show on the road. We will look at dance, music, theater, children's programming, Broadway musicals, and more. On this episode of Backstage Perspectives, you will get to hear Dr. Benjamin Whitcomb discuss his views on chamber music and how he goes about preparing for a concert. Find a comfy seat, because our next episode starts right now.
I think that chamber music has this wonderful position between solo music and, well, for me as a cellist, orchestral music, but large ensemble music, choral or band. And on the one hand, the solo music, when you're just the only thing going, true solo music, is, that's fun and rewarding too, having to be a one-man band and everything is on you. It's like a soliloquy. And then in the other extreme, it's fun because of the breadth and variety of color of sound to play in the large ensembles. But chamber music as a one on a part where traditionally there's no conductor and everybody in the moment has to feel what everybody else is trying to, both from a technical standpoint, trying to accomplish and from a musical standpoint. And when it's at its best, you're plugged into the other people and somewhat almost like letting them run you a little bit. I'm not deciding when I'm going to play that next note. I'm just hooked into you. And chamber music is something that kind of changes you always in a good way. It makes you more aware of other perspectives in terms of interpreting music, assessing it and allowing its emotions to come out in various ways. I think, frankly, the whole world would benefit from a nice heavy dose of a chamber music experience of some sort. This particular concert was less noticed, a lot of us right now are under unusual circumstances and unusual calendars. My modus operandi is to have about, let's say, 6 months out for any given concert. I'm aware of it at least 6 months in advance because very often you have to schedule it or book it with the venue at least that long in advance. And so in trying to think first big picture in terms of who's my audience going to be, is it around an occasion of any sort that I want to play off of? Not that you have to, but you can take into account the time of year that it is. Try and think, are there any other big picture factors? Particularly who your audience is and what they're going to like. And then sometimes it's like dominoes. You pick, once you make up your mind for sure on one particular piece, then that leads to, well, if I do this piece, then this piece goes well with it, but not that one so much. Or planning a meal. I like to try and make programs that aren't just where any individual thing was whatever it was in and of itself, but that it made some sort of artistic and logical sense in how it fit with the other pieces on the program. But other than that, it really depends. Sometimes there's a theme that you can find that unifies them all. You kind of draw a line through all the points and see, hey, there was an underlying theme here. And other times it's just, hey, I think these sound good together. Ideally, I can sense what the audience likes. It's fun if, especially early on in a concert, you can get a sense, oh, this audience really likes the slow stuff, or they really like the action. And I mean, of course, it's a collection of individuals. No two individuals are alike. But in a way, it's like in teaching a class year after year for the past 20-some years. There still is somewhat of a group personality, and the way they respond to things will still have a certain, at least from the perspective of the stage, it feels like they like this better and that not so much. It's fun to feel that energy on the stage and to feel like you have the wherewithal artistically to somewhat cater your performance to that. I mean, of course, in the end, I'm always going to play an interpretation that first and foremost I really like. But that's not one specific point in space. That's a fairly broad swath. And so just sometimes you can find, oh, okay, in this particular hall on this particular day, this particular audience is really into certain things, and it's fun, almost like a comedian with timing, or a magician, or something, to take this. I think because there's some magic in it, isn't there? We're just vibrating sound waves through the air, and that somehow is gonna give people goosebumps and change their lives, but it does. So ideally, that's how it goes. Then, of course, there are other days where if I have not played in a particular hall before, I can't get my mind off of the way my cello sounds, some aspect of it. Oh, and I can't just let go of that and get into the music. But fortunately, that doesn't happen too often. I'm fine with a wide variety of responses. I have to say, I like audiences that are responsive at all. There's a couple of experiences, one in particular I can remember, where the audience, it was in a house concert, it was about 60 people or something, and boy, they were just some of the most stone-faced people, and we couldn't do anything to get a read on them. And then afterward, it was thunderous applause, and oh, you loved that? Could you have shown it a little bit during the performance? So, in a way, if I am playing for an audience that is not seeming to be into it, it's a little bit like a dare, at least the way I take it. I often start to push the envelope a little bit with certain things to try and see if I can engage them more. Again, I'm not going to go beyond certain boundaries, what I consider to be the boundary of good taste. But sometimes that does. Sometimes that does get an audience to kind of stop daydreaming and go, wait, what's going on? What's he doing up there? This is real. He's communicating to us. We should listen to what he has to say. So I like them all. I like responsive audiences of any kind.
Thank you for watching today's episode. This program was made possible by Young Auditorium. We hope that you will support your local artists and local arts venues. If you would like to hear the full version of today's concert, please follow the link below.